Have you ever looked up at the vast night sky and wondered, is this all there is? What happens when it ends? We all have. Doomsday prophecies, those grand pronouncements of the end of times, tap into this primal fear of the unknown. They've been around since the dawn of civilization, a testament to our shared curiosity about the cosmos and our place in it. Think about it, from the Mayans to the Norse, to the Abrahamic religions, cultures across the globe have grappled with these existential questions. Even philosophy has a whole branch dedicated to pondering life, death, and meaning, existentialism. Doomsday prophecies might seem strange, but they're really part of a larger human quest for understanding. Here's the interesting thing. While these prophecies share a focus on the end, the details are wildly different. This tells us something about the unique anxieties and worldviews of each culture. For example, cultures heavily reliant on agriculture might focus on prophecies tied to natural disasters or crop failures, whereas maritime cultures might weave anxieties about the sea and monstrous creatures into their end-of-time stories. From the ancient Egyptians fearing the chaos serpent Apophis to the Hopi people of North America and their prophecies of a coming purification that emphasizes living in harmony with nature. Let's take a trip back in time. The Mayans had a pretty sophisticated calendar system, the long count calendar. Remember 2012 when some folks thought the world would end? That was a misinterpretation, fueled by our modern fascination with all things apocalyptic and a misreading of the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar wasn't about prophesying doom, it was cyclical. The end of a cycle simply meant a new era was beginning, not the destruction of everything. Think of it like a giant calendar with a reset button, or a seed that dies to give rise to new life. They believed the universe went through repeating cycles of creation, destruction, and rebirth. Their creation story, the Popol Vuh, even talks about multiple worlds being destroyed before ours. And if you visit Mayan ruins, you'll see imagery reflecting these cyclical concepts. Snakes shedding their skin, for example, symbolizing transformation. So, next time you hear about the Mayan doomsday prophecy, remember, it's more about renewal than ruin. Now let's head to Scandinavia. The Norse weren't afraid of a good apocalypse either. Their mighty gods faced their ultimate showdown in Ragnarok, a cataclysmic battle between gods, giants, and monstrous beasts. It's a pretty dramatic affair, with fire and floods consuming the world. But here's the thing, Ragnarok might not be just about literal destruction. Maybe it's a metaphor for the harsh realities of Viking life, brutal winters, unpredictable weather patterns, constant warfare, and the ever-present threat of violent raids. Perhaps it reflects the impermanence of all things, even the reign of the gods. Or maybe it's cyclical, just like the Mayan calendar. After the destruction, a new world is born, a concept mirrored in Norse mythology by the fertile fields that emerge from the ashes. It could also be a warning, a story about unchecked greed and ambition, personified by the monstrous wolf Fenrir swallowing the sun. Think of it as a what goes around comes around for the Norse gods. Oh, and Valhalla, that glorious afterlife for fallen warriors? It hints at a new beginning even after Ragnarok, a reward for those who lived a life of courage and honor. The Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all have their own versions of the end times. The Bible describes a dramatic apocalypse, the arrival of a Messiah, and a grand last judgment. Think four horsemen, the number 666, powerful imagery, but it's important to understand them within the religious context, not as literal threats. These ideas weren't born in a vacuum. They were influenced by older religions like Zoroastrianism, which had this whole concept of a final battle between good and evil. This binary of good versus evil became a core theme in Abrahamic religions, reflected in the idea of the Last Judgment, where humanity's fate is decided based on their deeds. Unfortunately, throughout history, these ideas about the end times have sometimes been used to justify violence and control. Think crusades, witch hunts, and apocalyptic cults. Not exactly the most uplifting message, but there's another way to look at it. These prophecies can also be interpreted as calls for moral responsibility. If humanity faces a final judgment, then living a good and righteous life becomes even more important. So how do we make sense of these pronouncements from the past? Remember, these prophecies are ancient. They were written in symbolic language, referencing events we might not even understand today. What seemed like a terrifying omen back then could just be a metaphor or social commentary for us. For example, some scholars believe the Book of Revelation, a highly symbolic text in the Bible, was actually a coded message critiquing the Roman Empire's persecution of early Christians. The monstrous beasts and fiery destruction could be metaphors for the brutality of Roman rule. Similarly, the imagery of the four horsemen might represent famine, war, plague, and death, all very real threats in the ancient world. Also, consider the influence of astronomy. An unexpected eclipse may be a sign of divine displeasure to an ancient civilization. Today, we know it's just the natural dance of celestial bodies. And those prophets and seers? They might have been social critics using pronouncements from the divine to get their points across. Think about it. If you told people in the Middle Ages that the world was round, you might be called a heretic. But if you framed it as a message from God, well, that might be a different story. The world faces serious threats today: climate change, nuclear weapons, pandemics. These are real anxieties, but they're different from the fatalistic pronouncements of old. We take a proactive approach now, trying to solve problems through science, diplomacy, and activism, not just waiting for the inevitable. Science offers a different perspective too. Cosmology tells us the universe is vast and ever-changing, a far cry from the limited knowledge of ancient civilizations. We know the sun won't just sputter out anytime soon, and we're constantly learning more about the potential dangers of asteroids and comets. And let's not forget philosophy. Secular and humanist thinkers focus on finding meaning in this life, without relying on ideas of an afterlife or the world ending. They urge us to focus on making the world a better place here and now. Doomsday prophecies might seem strange, but they're valuable. They offer a window into the belief systems and anxieties of past civilizations. By understanding them within their context, we can separate cultural interpretations from literal predictions. These ancient ideas can even teach us something about ourselves. Are they cautionary tales, urging us to take better care of our planet and each other? Or do they inspire us with their resilience in the face of imagined destruction? Perhaps a bit of both. Here's the thing. By understanding the past, we can approach our own future with a greater sense of awareness. We can be empowered to build a better world, not just sit back and wait for the sky to fall. These ancient prophecies may be echoes from a distant past, but they can still guide us as we navigate our own uncertain future. Who knows, maybe our own story won't be about fiery apocalypse, but about enduring curiosity, problem solving, and the indomitable human spirit. And hey, even if the end is nigh, at least we faced it with courage, creativity, and a good dose of scientific inquiry. Maybe that's the most hopeful message of all, that even in the face of the unknown, we have the capacity to learn, grow, and strive for a better tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.
It's London Lee.